maybe it's time to start. Are you ready, Tim?
I am.
Nice. So welcome everyone to this webinar about don't present but sell. So my name is Paulus Perkkiö. I'm CEO and founder of Seidat, and I'm here together with Tim. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you so much, Paulus. And hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar.
And today, we both are here only for you. So every time when you have anything to ask, please ask it, because it's really interesting to discuss about your problems. We try to explain today how we are doing sales and trying to give you tips about that topic, and it's our major agenda. And we go through these steps, what kind of sales meetings we typically have, how we use presentations, how sales decks could be utilized in different sales meetings, and examples of content which can be used in presentations. And then, of course, all the time we are presenting or having this webinar only to give you some new ideas how to use presentations in sales without presenting, but only selling. It's the main question today. Before we really start, and before Tim will present himself more detailed, I must say that please follow us in social media, in LinkedIn, Facebook, in Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. In those channels, we are all the time more detailed, telling what's coming next. But maybe, Tim, could you shortly introduce who you are and or why you are working in sales?
Yeah, well, it's a long story, actually, but maybe a couple of words about me. So my name is Tim Babkin. I'm taking care of international sales at Seidat. And when sometimes people ask me, Tim, where are you from? I'm saying, well, I'm from Finland. But they say, like, really? I said, well, if you ask me where I was born, so I was born in Ukraine. And I moved here as a professional basketball player exactly 10 years ago. It was anniversary yesterday. And so many things have changed since that. I came here as a professional basketball player, and I now doing sales. But the first time, actually, my first sales project was when I was 12 years old. So like sales somehow were part of me all the time, and I was doing some side hustle along my sport career. And I was happy to take my professional development further by starting to do sales in Finland. And several years later, I joined Seidat, and I'm really happy because like it's something, it's very exciting platform, and I know that it's something what can deliver value to our customers. It's like one of my main drivers. So yeah. Nowadays, I'm taking care of our international customers. So like on daily basis, I'm using our platform for sales of our platform. And it's also quite interesting to hear from our customers, like with who we already have developed some relations, how they are doing sales with Seidat. Sometimes I'm discovering some new techniques on maybe not daily, but on weekly basis. And I am always happy to share them with our customers. So I will try also talk today not just about how I do sales, but I will try to make some reflections also to maybe other industries. But I believe in general, like you can apply like the way how I'm doing also to your sales processes. So yeah, I believe it could be as an introduction, and we can continue, Paulus.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Tim. If I shortly tell you why we have this title for this webinar, Don't Present but Sell. It's coming from our experience with customers. I have been also selling Seidat quite a lot, several years, and not today anymore so much, only sometimes, but I can easily remember those situations. One especially when I have had a first meeting with the CEO of the company, and then I met the whole sales team, and the sales team member said in the beginning of that meeting that, why do we have this meeting? Because we don't have any time for presenting in sales meetings. We don't have any time for presenting in sales meeting. And what I answered to him that, okay, if you are presenting in sales meeting, please stop that immediately. Don't waste your time for presenting in sales meetings. And then there was a quietness. He was amazed why person who is coming from company like Seidat is saying that do not present anything in sales meeting, do not waste your time for presenting presentations. But the idea was that he started to analyze what I did after that. And in the end of the meeting, he realized and he said, Seidat is something what they really need. And now they are happy Seidat customers. During the whole meeting, I used presentations, mostly one, but I used it all the time. But I was selling. It was my idea to sell, not to present anything. And that is the background for this webinar, why we wanted to have this one. So, Tim, let's start the real agenda. And now it's time to discuss, and maybe you can tell more detailed what kind of meetings typically you have during your sales process before closing a deal.
Well, I think I would actually start not from the meeting itself, but the way how I convert my first contact with a customer to the meeting. So this is like something important. So because there is some, like as all of us know, that it's actually maybe one of the hardest things is to get customer to the meeting. So in quite many situations, I have to use tools like, for example, LinkedIn to reach my customers or like prospects at that moment. And usually I'm sending some materials to them, like some intro on LinkedIn message, like using Seidat. So basically, Seidat doesn't require for you to make any attachments. It means that because like presentation itself is based on cloud. So it's cloud-based presentation platform for sales teams. So it means that my presentation is in cloud and I can use link to share wherever I want. Basically, it's not only on LinkedIn or email. It can be everywhere, SMS, WhatsApp, everywhere. Basically, all channels you can use. You can even put basically QR code to your visit card and hand, for example, on some exhibition or some event, like wherever you meet your potential customers. So yeah, first I have some intro that helped me to actually to convert a first impression of customer, if customer like what I am offering, if it somehow feels that it's something what could help to actually to the meeting. And I will tell you a bit later how I do that. Then I have meeting with customer. First, it's of course like it's some intro meeting when I really want to learn more about my customer, more than I can find in web page or Sales Navigator. Want to learn about the problems what customer have, like what industry where customer operates, what challenges, or what works for them as well. It's also quite interesting to know like what actually from how they make sales, like what is the whole process of sales. So then I make some introductions, then I go to next meetings. It depends of the size of the customer. Sometimes it's one meeting, but maybe not so often, because it's more like solution selling than just a product selling or service. So then it depends, I think maybe 2 to 4 meetings usually it takes to close a deal. So after the first meeting, when we kind of more have some discovery call, like customer try to understand what the tool is, say that I'm trying to understand who is the customer. The next meeting where we are talking really more about practicalities, about how say that could help, like maybe some cases. Maybe I'm meeting with some, it depends to who I first get contact. Maybe like sometimes, like even if it was decision maker asked me, could you please talk with my, like for example, sales and marketing about that? So then I run meeting with them because they will be actually these people who gonna use say that in their daily life, sales life. So then I have meeting with them. Sometimes like it could take a couple of meetings, and after that I am coming to the point when I actually meet with decision maker again, and like we already discussing, okay, so what would be the scope of proposal, because like we already have good understanding what is say that is about, how we can help, what problems we can solve to our customer. Then I am submitting proposal, and proposal is not boring A4 format document with many letters as most of us probably think proposal is. Even so, there is nothing in the law that it should be like that. My proposal are still selling Seidat, and it's actually also quite a cool thing. I will show you how it might look later. So yeah, and then after that, I hope my proposal will be e-signed and deal will be closed. Then I'm forwarding it to our customer success team, who will start onboarding, and like if it will be needed, some design projects to our customers. So I believe like this is like more or less my typical sales process, if it makes sense.
Yeah, it's if we think about that, I think the sales is easy. At first, you must find this decision maker, as you said, then understand their need, pain, what must be solved, and giving them some kind of solution. And after you have a solution, you have proposed a solution, then try to get a decision.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like
not that
summary.
complex.
Yeah, perfect summary.
Yeah.
What I said. Yes.
Yeah, and if you think about that, I think the most important thing and what is typically done wrongly is that people are discussing and they are selling for wrong person. Because if you are not making sales immediately to decision maker, you will not get a winning solution.
Yeah,
ever.
I definitely agree, but I still like also from my perspective, I see especially in a bit bigger organizations, because decision makers are not those who gonna use tool, and it's like I believe it's regardless industry. So like you have to be ready to also present to, not to present, but to sell to actual users of your service, of your product. Yeah, and then but that like you have to be sure who is decision maker, at least one of them, because sometimes there are several of those. But again, we say that like you can actually like on signing process, you can reach decision makers, like they could sign document even you don't know who are they. So it's actually works quite well. But like it's always you have to keep control that decision makers involved in your sales process.
Yeah, there is good question in chat. How do you ask for the right person and how do you define them? Okay,
I think first I define them and then I ask to maybe to double check, because like I use in my work, I use Sales Navigator. It gives me actually quite good information because I can prospect my customer, and let's say if I'm using
so Sales Navigator in LinkedIn.
Yeah, so Sales Navigator is my main prospecting tool. So this is the way how I identify. And if, for example, I go to the meeting, I anyway come to discussions that like to the question that, okay, who is like basically, because I know that sales organization in company will be using Seidat. So I'm asking Suvo kind of like, basically maybe I'm I know already maybe, okay, let's say this is not decision maker because title is not, for example, director, but manager. But manager sometimes is misleading because now everyone is manager in some way. So then I might ask, so kind of like, are you leader of your team, for example? If person tells no, I said like, okay, anyway, of course, I'm running the meeting, but then my next step, I'm asking, so like, it would be really great to involve your, for example, leader in our next meeting. Or for example, if it's CEO, actually CEO, sometimes like I think it's very easy to run meetings with CEOs because they understand how the process should go. And they say, okay, I will be the signee, but you really have to talk with my, for example, director, sales director. So they will be using, if he shows thumb up, I'm signing. So on some way, it's kind of maybe organically happen, but it's good to make some homework through prospecting tools to understand, like, to have some better feeling, okay, is it correct person to talk with?
Yeah. So to answer that question, how do you ask? I typically ask, who is your supervisor? Who is your leader?
Yeah, I'm asking more leader.
If the leader is CEO, then I understand that, okay, the person is next to CEO, he can make also decisions. But if there are several steps before the CEO, I can easily understand that it's not the whole decision maker. And typically I do that work in the beginning of the meeting. I ask who you are, what are your responsibilities? Can you tell me what kind of team you have? And when people are always willing to tell that because they want to tell you what is their work, what are their responsibilities. It's something what everyone wants to tell every time. It's easy to get the right answers.
Yeah, and I think like in quite many cases, people understand their own sales meeting. And if they're not decision maker, like they also feel that they might be wasting my time and I will be wasting their time.
Yeah.
So I think the conversation.
But then I have seen many times also that you must understand who are typically the decision makers. When we started to work with Seidat, we sold quite a lot for marketing people, and it was wrong direction because they are not decision makers from how we see it at the moment. Yeah. They can make decisions, but it's a little bit different tools which they are buying and which they are responsible for. But if we continue, we have now discussed about the whole process, but could you tell what typically happens before the meeting? You sent that introduction in LinkedIn. Can you show that shortly?
Yeah, sure. 1 second.
And because I think it's interesting to see for people what kind of introduction you typically, what kind of introductions you are typically sending to customers.
Yeah, I'm happy to tell about it. So basically when I'm sending introduction, of course, I don't send just link. I usually write text like what is really personalized. I'm telling, hey, kind of I approached you because I think that like companies like yours might be using this type of tools during sales process, but we have like different approach. So kind of I'm telling that I sort of maybe in some words that I understand what the business of the company, and there is like reason why I'm approaching this person. And then I'm asking, so, hey, like if you would like really to learn more about what I'm talking about, please open my presentation. So because like in LinkedIn, it comes like when I share link, it doesn't come just like a link, you know, some symbols. It comes as a thumbnail. Like in this case, thumbnail is a title page of my presentation. For example, the one you see now for winning sales flows. I usually put logo of the customer to who I'm approaching, like this place where you can see Squarespace. I put their logo of the customer, and it means that this logo will be visible on the thumbnail. So the customer will know, okay, this is not some generic material. It's like actually made for me. because customer sees a logo. So the click rate of material is dramatically increasing. So when customer actually opened my link, he comes to the presentation, and I immediately can see in Seidat, was it clicked or not? So it's already give me some insights. Okay, it's something probably interesting. So the person is on my presentation. Yeah. So next slide, I put like some intro of me. So because like I'm ex-basketball player, as some of you probably heard or maybe know, I really want to put that, you know, personal approach that company has a face. Like it's not nowadays business, B2B is not done between company and company, it's between people in the company. So that's why I want to really, you know, build bridges from beginning and make, you know, some more personality in my presentation. It actually works quite well. So I put text that maybe sometimes more generic, because I don't want maybe spend too much time like with really kind of personalizing way too much it. So it's something like that I'm kind of really appealing to problems what customers have like on daily basis, like most of organizations. So I'm putting this type of slide, what kind of actually tells about the problems and how we could solve, and pushing to say that, okay, we can help you to reach your meetings and please book a fast meeting with me. And like sometimes customer like, right, okay, like in mind, it's, I have to book meeting, I have to contact and so on, but not, because you can do it directly in presentation, and I will show you how. So then I put what are the typical challenges with materials in organization. So they're usually fragmented, has low quality, slow in development, missing sales concept, and missing cooperation. The same approach you could do with your presentations. Just put like what are typical problems of your customers that you want to solve. Then I just tell in like overall what is like Seidat is about, is what the platform it is. Same way you can tell about your product or your service. Basically, it's kind of continued. I'm telling a bit more about like openings that, okay, this is like more technical side, how it can work, what you can facilitate, maybe some key features, like what content you use, what actually, how you're different than your competitors. Like, for example, in our case, that one of this main difference, not main difference, but one of the coolest things is actually presentation. It's a matrix structure. It helps you in quite many ways and actually makes your life as a salesperson much easier. Then I'm using one video of my colleague who is really a crazy guy, and like he is quite famous in Finland because of that. So he is actually closing deal from Avanto. It's like, it's basically hole in the ice in the lake, and this is like really this is a very viral thing. And but then it's usually the presentation itself is razor short, because you have to be really on point. Like you probably don't think that customer will spend way too much time viewing your presentation. But then what I do, I put my calendar to the presentation. What does it mean? That I want to, like, if customer or prospect really liked what he or she saw on my presentation, I don't want to make that things will happen this way, that between good impression and booked meetings, there is something might happen. You know, your wife called and say, hey, pick up kids from kindergarten. And then you okay, jumped out and you forgot what Seidat was about. Or your colleague came to the room, or something happened between kind of you really answer the message. For example, like, okay, team, let's meet and talk. But I allow to book meeting with me immediately inside of my material. This really helps a lot, and kind of eliminate all these unnecessary steps between I like this stuff until the meeting is booked. So like really I'm helping to my customer to book meeting with me right away, right in presentation, not leaving the presentation. So yeah, I think this way I'm converting my first interaction to actually booked meeting. So this is the first.
Yes. Yeah, it's very important to get that meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
And
exactly.
and it's also important that before they make a decision to book a meeting, they have some introduction. What is Seidat all about? So it's not only verbal discussion in LinkedIn chat, for example, what is our business all about and how can you help, but giving them a presentation gives a little bit more insight, because it can include all kind of videos and that kind of information.
Yeah, it can be really, and even on this stage, the presentation itself can be interactive with the customer. Yeah. But basically, it should be rather short and sharp, rather than like you are really like making it really big. So you should get like main idea to get first good impression that would be converted to the actual meeting where you tell more information about your product or service.
Yeah. But then when you get the first meeting, what is it? What is the goal of your first meeting? And can you tell us something about the structure typically?
Yeah. Wait a second. I will change my slides. Wait a moment. Yeah. When my first meeting is booked, I want to really like, first of all, of course, I'm sending calendar invitation. When it comes, I can modify it. And I even just like to customer to remind what was about. I can include my this intro presentation as a link to, for example, Google Meet invitation. So the customer can always open my presentation even from there. Wait a moment. I will get to my another slides, what will show to you how actually I'm running my meetings. Wait a second.
I can answer at the same time when you are searching the presentation. Yeah, Matti was asking how early should one involve the decision maker to the sales process, and there are always those wannabe decision makers. So I would say that as early as possible, please go directly to the decision maker as soon as you can find him or her. It's my feeling and my experience. If you don't go there, it's very possible that you won't get the winning sales process. Igor has been also asking about public or government sales, schools, for example. Is there some specialties? I have been working with in school photo business. I have founded that kind of company earlier, and I have been an owner role, and in that business it was very, very complex, that public sector sales for schools, because there are so many decision makers levels which you can go step by steps. It can also happen that you can't go directly to a final decision maker. There are gatekeepers or that kind of persons which you can at first meet, and before you have met them, you can't get the access to final decision makers. And it's one of the most complex things in when you sell to government organizations. Yes, please, Tim.
Yeah, thank you for insight. I believe, like, of course, depends of the industry. All sales processes are vary, but I think what good thing about Seidat that it can adapt to whatever sales process you have. And like, as we also tell that, like, our tool is supporting not just, selling online, but it's actually for hybrid sales era. So you can use our materials regarding are you meeting face-to-face, online, how you're sharing your material. So like basically you can use it like everywhere. But
but I must also say for that decision maker question and discussion that it has earlier happened many times for me when I sold only professional services, marketing services, and product development services, that there are people who are always asking, could you send me a proposal? And it happened several times that I said that no, I can't send you a proposal. I want to meet the CEO or who is the decision maker before I say I will send anything to you. Okay, I can send some presentations and that kind of content, but yes.
Yeah, but yeah, if I come back to my first meeting, like when I really meet the let's say the moment of truth, when I have the meeting itself, when I really want to learn more about customers. So of course, like it goes that way. At first time we have some warm up. Like I believe it's not a good idea to start to talk about the business right away. So like you have to start to build bridge with your future customer. So this is actually a crucial part, and I know that quite many salespeople are skipping this, trying to go directly to the point, thinking that it works well, but it doesn't really bring this good effect because again, it should be some personal connection, like, or at least you should try to do it. Like it's usually maybe first minutes are actually warming up. So like we are talking about like some, you know, how is the weather, about some like really interesting thing, how weekend went. So like maybe a couple of jokes. It kind of helps to make this meeting not so formal. So like in the end, it's basically both of you or like bigger size of group will feel more comfortable during the meeting. So yeah, but then I usually go to slides, but again, I'm not starting to pitch, you know, my company, say that what it's about and so on. I usually open presentations the way how it should be done or could be done is first of all, again, like it's not necessarily that you use Google Meet or Microsoft Teams on any platform, because we say that you actually need just to have devices. So like you can even talk by phone and still will be able to show materials. Because like when you share your presentation, you not necessarily have to share to use screen share. You can just send link by SMS. Again, it's live link, person click, and it could be SMS, WhatsApp, whatever. You can use still in Google chat box. You send link, person clicks, and you're able to control what the person see on the screen. So I don't know if it makes sense for you, but like it's a bit different experience than screen share. So usually what I first do, it's again introduction of myself. So, and again, as you can see, I have ball in my hands, and I believe everyone can have something how you're gonna stand out from the army of salespeople all around. You might, I don't know, you might like skiing, put skis with you. Like be really different, be kind of more personal. Like don't kind of end up on kind of being just like, you know, your face or not even introducing yourself, because this is a great icebreaker. It works so well for on my meetings, because like I have people ask, okay, like you have ball, like you're in suit and you keep ball in your hand. So it's really like making this conversation even more personal. And it's actually really nice, because sometimes people say like, hey, I also played basketball. Or someone said, okay, like, how about, do you like LeBron James? Or I don't know, it could be like, did you watch a basketball game? Or actually someone might say, okay, well, I'm a football player. I used to play professionally like football. And then you go in much, like you're breaking so much of ice. It starts to make much easier your conversation. Okay, of course, you're not friends, but you are much more than just, you know, some salesperson trying to make deal with you. So it really helps to make a conversation that person will start to speak, because what you want, it's not that you will be pitching, but you want that actually the customer will be speaking more than you. And so from this point, when I'm introducing myself, it's also very easy to go actually to the point of who is the customer. Maybe customer will start to tell about himself, maybe even about the family, his family guy. And he just like played with kids like whole weekend of football. So like you really kind of start to do the thing. And of course, then kind of you maybe turn the conversation more to the business direction, and you start to kind of get the first information that you can find through Sales Navigator. It's about the company, it's about the person, about the challenges. So usually I'm also introducing agenda. So what will be agenda of this meeting? So it's really good thing, because then it really structures your further meeting, so you know what customers know, okay, what to expect. Maybe you also check in what's our timing situation. Usually, from my experience, when after this I build some bridges and break the ice, I'm asking, so how much time you actually have? And customers say, oh, I actually have like, you know, a bit longer time, so kind of take your time. It's already nice, because like, you know, you have some trust between. So yeah, I'm going through agenda, start to learn more about my customer, what challenges my customer have. So it's really important for future, like basically maybe you can go to your business goals. Like you ask, so what's your business goal? Like what you want to achieve in 2022, and you try to learn how you can help to the customer to achieve these goals. So it's really like it's about your needs, about the customer. Yes.
Tim, could you scale that preview a little bit bigger?
You mean scale?
Scale that preview image, though. So.
Preview.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure what you exactly mean. So.
Okay, please continue then.
Yeah. So I'm talking about challenges. I really try to get some insights about customer situation. I might also assume what situation customer has with sales materials. So I really try to, wait a second. I really try to build it somehow this way that I start to learn about the customer more than telling right away about how I'm gonna solve the problem with the customer.
I asked Tim for control, but it made that everything more complex. Sorry, Tim.
Yeah, yeah. Zoom sometimes is tricky. My personally not my favorite tool, but I think for webinars it's still better than. But for online meetings, I prefer Google. So yeah, I'm trying to gather as much information as possible before I actually go in to talk about what Seidat it is. So usually I'm telling about like, and maybe I want also to tell to you about our view mode. So how actually you run the meeting, because like it's one of my favorite features is actually matrix structure presentation. So what does it mean? That I'm able to have like really extensive presentation material for sales meeting. I'm not going to send it after the meeting, or at least not all of the slides, but during the meeting I have around maybe 80 slides, and I'm able to adapt to the agenda of the meeting. So it means that like if every slide would have number, I'm able to go from slide number 5 to slide number 34 in a matter of one click. So it makes my life as a salesperson much easier, because I don't have to scroll all the slides and feel awkward not finding some particular slide with how I want to support the question of my customer. So having really good sales material on sales meeting helps a lot in actually selling process, because like I'm always able, just like I like, because I have degree in psychology, I was a bit going deeper to techniques and learning styles of every person. So the idea is every person has different learning style. Some can hear like they really want to hear more. For some people, it's important to read. Some people have to try. So Seidat is combining all the things. And so basically, like we say that with interactive presentation, you can mix learning styles to reach the best result. So usually I'm going then with short intro, what Seidat is about, how it works, how like what analytics we can have, like that we can follow, for example, how it was open, how much time it was spent on slides. I'm telling about that you can create materials like turnkey, or you can take your PowerPoint into Seidat and continue to work with them. I really going like not going too much in details, but I really run rather fast meeting, because I usually have like, let's say from 30 to 1 hour time. So of course with 1 hour I'm a bit more kind of flexible, but with 30 time I'm a bit tight. So I'm going through the things. But then I start to kind of from getting insights of what I have to talk about, because my customer told me about the problems, about the sales process. So I am adapting my sales process to things what I learned before during the introduction level. So then I'm probably asking what tools my customer use, like is customer using some analytical tools, because quite many of them working with Seidat quite well, and you can get really deeper analytics, for example, with lead feeder or other tools. Then I'm using like, I'm asking, so is it, for example, digital tool? Then I probably want to say that like we can actually have like even a sign-in page in Seidat, or I'm also telling more about the calendar, how you can use. So like it depends on situation, depends on the sales process of my customer. Then then with customer, we start to talk about how actually Seidat could solve the problem. And I'm asking customer, so how you feel? How Seidat could work for you? And usually like in 100% of cases, customer has already some idea how it could be used. So in this moment, actually customers start to sell Seidat for him or herself, because like imagination works. And I really want to make customers think on this moment that like it's not just, customer get bored about presentation, but actually it's kind of goes as a sales process all the time. And by the moment when actually customers start to sell to himself, because I usually also ask, okay, what's your impression about Seidat? What, like, if you can just tell me a couple of words, what did you like about Seidat? What you didn't like about Seidat? And this is perfect time because I start to make notes about it. I start to make notes that I will be using later in my sales process, because I want to remind to my customer later what the customer felt at particular moment of presentation. And if customer tells, okay, well, maybe something even negative, I usually can understand that maybe customer didn't understand something that well, and I have a chance to explain. So the same way you can use. So basically, like you identifying by that question, not only the positive parts, but also what customer didn't really realize. So what potential value Seidat presentation tool can have, or your product or service can have for the customer. And together with customers, start to build prototype of using Seidat into the sales process of the company. Then usually, like, again, it's regarding like, do I know is a decision maker in front of me or not? Anyway, I'm trying to book the next step. So I'm trying to kind of think already, I'm kind of try to build foundation for the next meeting. Usually I try to put a meeting placeholder directly in calendar during the meeting. And after that, I'm start already to basically, okay, after the meeting, I start to prepare sponsor letter about what I will tell you a bit later. But basically, I'm finalizing the meeting with approach that we're gonna continue on next meeting talking about something like, for example, use cases. Or if it's bigger organization, I probably need to talk, for example, anyway with marketing person. So I'm asking, what's the next logical step?
And it's also very good trick in our business to ask people to send, for example, their current presentation so that we could analyze them and tell them how to design a better ones or whatever. But it's very important to have this kind of interaction between sales and salesperson and buyer all the time, not only a verbal level, but also sending material from each other or during the sales process. It makes it more interesting also for the buyer if they can feel all the time that you are trying to solve their problems, not only selling some product, but you are trying to find a good solution.
Yeah.
And if I try to summarize your first meeting, I think the most important thing is that warming up is done immediately in the early beginning, and then you try to shortly introduce why we have that meeting, and then go to those needs which they have. What are the pains? Is there any pains? What you could solve? And after that, you give them some ideas and try to find the decision maker and book a meeting with him or her. Did I summarize it right?
Yeah, exactly. So this is kind of the main goal, is to get further and actually to that customers start to consider using Seidat in the future.
Yeah. So after that, you will typically send to that person or to that team some kind of sponsor letter.
Yeah, exactly. After that, I make a summary about the meeting what I just had. Like I do it immediately after the meeting, like of course, if there is not next meeting is not coming right after that. So I put there some information. I will show you now how it might look. Wait a moment.
But I must say that this sponsor letter question is, I have learned it quite lately, too late if I think about my career as in sales, because I have been thinking that it's stupid to write down everything and send them back to the buyer. But now I have realized that it's not only question of that buyer, but it's question how the buyer is able to sell the whole idea what have been discussed to his or her whole organization.
Yeah.
And that's the main idea of that.
Yes. So basically, a sponsor letter, it's a presentation that I create like using partly slides from my sales presentation, plus more personalized slides, as for example, this one. So I'm telling that I understood that like how your organization functions. So I kind of like built that, okay, I now know you a bit better. I put situation summary. So like my learnings from the meeting. It helps me and helps the customer to know actually, okay, this guy really understands how we function. And what I also use is this type of slide. What I liked a lot, and actually it works very well with customers, where I put all this impression, what I was writing to myself when I ask customers, so how do you like Seidat? Like, what's your first impression? So then the customer actually can see what he or she felt before, or for example, if I'm going to meeting with another person, a person could actually get some colleagues feeling. Okay, you see here is Michael Jordan, Angelina Jolie, and Brad Pitt, not my real customers, at least not yet. But you can even put photo of the customers there, like for example, some colleague of that guy, or is it just the guy who you talk, and remind or introduce that feeling, the first impression from the first meeting. It also helps like if you're a bit more complex organization, like bigger customer, you can have these notes after every meeting with every kind of the person with who, for example, decision maker might suggest to meet. For example, marketing, sales, customer success manager. So you can create slide with putting notes like about feeling about some good and bad things to that slide. So when in the end of all the sales process, the presentation will come to decision maker. Decision maker can like just get familiar with everything, with every meeting outcome. So then to make decision, it will be much easier. So basically you're helping to your customer to make right decision with this type of sponsor letter. So yeah, but when it's basically, it's like, it's very good trick and kind of part that could become like really ice breaking or some key thing of your sales process in your organization. Then I usually put like some slides that are summarized what Seidat is about, what benefits, or like what benefits your service brings, for example, to a particular role or something, how, for example, sales deck might look in our case, or in your case, for example, like you're building the prototype of how your customer might start to use your product or service. So something kind of to give like to customer to understand, okay, like if I start to use, this is what I will get. This is how it's gonna work. You also probably put some references to your presentation. So you want to build the trust, okay, so how it should be done, or how it might, like in our case, for example, we put reference presentation of our very old and loyal customer Contio, and then they can analyze basically to check it out how this presentation might work and so on. So yeah, then I maybe a bit reminding what Seidat is about, what the key features and so on. And again, I always give a chance to my customer to book meeting with me if the meeting wasn't booked before.
Yeah. If you then think about the whole process that we have started from the first meeting, now we are discussing about this sponsor letter. Then comes next meetings. Typically, there is 1, 2, 3 other meetings. It depends on how early you can reach the final decision maker. But typically we are using same kind of presentation in all other meetings. But then comes this proposal phase. Should we jump to that?
Yeah.
Because it's very interesting to discuss at the same time when we discuss about the proposal that, okay, earlier proposals typically have been those white A4 papers or letter papers, and now they are typically presentations. And at the same time, if we can discuss what kind of slides typically we are using, not only in proposals, but some ideas how to visualize different kind of things, also in proposal, but also during the sales process.
Yes, sure. Wait a second.
Because I think those visualizations in all steps of the sales process, they are really important. And without those, it's not that easy to understand what is everything. What does it mean to, for example, use your products or services?
Yeah. Of course, like first of all, as I mentioned before, our proposal not boring A4 document is still presentation. So basically your proposal is still selling. So usually I include a situation summary of the company, what they have on this moment, and some sales materials. So basically I'm kind of like maybe having like there are some notes, like again from my sponsor letter, but then I start to go to estimates. For example, I mentioned to my customer what possibilities they can get by signing that proposal. So I kind of build a prototype already, or reminding what they say that is about and what they can get in the future. So the value, what we create, so what actually customer will get, how it's gonna work, what it will improve. Then I also start to actually like in this type of slide, start to kind of write, for example, like if this customer discussed some type of project, so how it will gonna be implemented. So for example, like we are creating some master deck for customer, we put Seidat settings, this customer will probably already discuss how onboarding process will go, what kind of trainings would be involved. So I'm summarizing, basically I start to build from the vision to the concrete thing, how, like what actually the offer is about. Then I have slide, for example, about the pricing. So getting all this, so first I'm getting an impression, okay, this is a good stuff. And then I am taking my customer to actually what the price is. Also, at the same time, okay, you can't see it on my moment this now because like it's not actual proposal, but on the bottom of my proposal, there will be e-sign button. So basically, by matter of couple of clicks, the proposal can be signed. There is no need to actually print it out, like, you know, make signature, scan, send back, or something like that. So it could be immediately signed directly in Seidat. So I might want to let even, like as I mentioned before, sometimes you don't know every decision maker, but you might have one. But with our tool, that one decision maker can forward for signing to another one. Like even so, I don't know who is that person, because sometimes it's enough of decision maker of one, but signee should be like 2, 3, 4 persons. Even so, like it only sales director who will make decision about it, but financial director have to sign, maybe CEO have to make signature, and so on. So with e-sign tool, let's say that it's possible without, you know, even you knowing who are these guys. So basically, yeah, I think we have just 5 minutes left, so I want to leave a bit more space for question and answer. So basically, the idea of proposal that it's still allowed to customer to sign, my proposal is still selling, even so it's proposal, it's still sales document. So it's actually help you to get that the one thing what you were working all this time before actually to sign deal and close deal and actually revenue for your company.
Magic happened, and now there is a button. So
Yeah.
I activated to that document this e-sign button.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So now we have on the bottom, as you can see, e-sign the document. So just by one click in there, you can go actually to sign it. You just put some information or you want to forward it to your colleagues. As easy as that. And again, it also helps you to have all tools in the same place, so you not necessarily need some external services. Everything can be on the same place if you wish. But I think for our customers, it works really nicely.
Yeah. There is good question once again back to that first topic which we discussed already. What kind of info do you include to the first outreach presentation via Sales Navigator? If I start, the
yes.
first important thing is the first slide. What is on that? What kind of image you have and what kind of text you have there? It's not like a Seidat sales presentation, but it must be something which gives value to the customer. And the title of the presentation should also give some extra value for the person. So please ask something in that first slide and in the title, like don't waste time for sales anymore. Put something like this kind of sentence to that first slide. Then it takes immediately the viewer can get some ideas that okay, there is something inside, I must click, and it is the first step. You must have a proper first impact in that slide, and then they go in, and now you can continue what should be inside.
Yeah, and again, put logo of your customers there.
Yeah.
That increase the click rate dramatically. So like really do that. And if you think about what else, if you want to kind of like invest a bit more of your time and like really like have some findings, like some learnings about, you can write, hey, we have, for example, our portfolio of customers include customers like you. So like we really know what works like in your industry and what doesn't work and what typical challenges you have. So with our solution, we solve you this and this and that. So this is kind of information that like prospecting can help you, what you can put there to actually build the trust, what you really know and you know how to solve. Not just you like spray and pray about it, just like some generic stuff. So as more it's personalized, as better. And we see that you can really make it very easy, so you don't have to make completely new presentations all the time. We have really good tools that could help you to keep them like really personalized and personalized presentation what you used before for agenda of new customer.
What do you think? Is there something missing what we have jumped over or something like that? Now I'm sharing my screen and I would like to shortly introduce Seidat.
Well, I think it's like of course, like there is so many other features what we didn't talk about, but I believe you're not gonna waste time now of our guys here. But if anyone will get interested, we'll be happy to tell more. But maybe Paulus, you could go a bit deeper to some things.
Yeah. So if you think about Seidat, what is Seidat all about? It's a sales platform which is cloud-based, and in Seidat, we have all the time used Seidat. That's the first thing. This is our platform which we are using. So you create your presentations here, you can present using Seidat, you can share them, you can collaborate with your team in Seidat and analyze how your customers has opened those presentations. So it's one place where you have all your sales materials. You can integrate it with your sales ecosystem, with your CRM tools. So the proposal creation, for example, can be very automatic process where you only make some change in CRM and it will automatically trigger a process in Seidat to create a better personalized proposal presentation and sending it back to CRM tool. when your customer is opening that presentation, the opening of your proposal could trigger a remarketing campaign in social media. And when they have signed the document, it can trigger a message in Slack, for example. So it's integrated. It can be integrated to your sales ecosystem totally, fully. And we have several customers in 9 countries at the moment. We want more all the time. So if you have any ideas, how could you use Seidat more actively or start using it, please tell us and we can help you.
Yeah, we have one question. Which cloud provider do we run on?
It's on Amazon at the moment. So it's there in Europe. But whenever you have something to ask, please go to our website. There you can find links to our calendar, so you can book a meeting and then we can continue the discussion. We have other webinars coming, and all the previous webinars you can book here, subscribe, and then we can send you the recording, as we will send it back to you tomorrow about this webinar. And please follow us in social media, because we will tell there what is coming next, what kind of events are coming. But I must say, thank you everyone. It has been really nice discussion with Tim. Thank you, Tim. And we are still here. If you really want to ask something now, there is still good opportunity for that. But otherwise, I will say that have a nice Christmas time, happy holidays, and it's end of this year, so please try to close as many deals as possible until the year changes. So, and in next year, you must make better and better and higher records. Yeah, also you, Tim.
Definitely, I do my best for that, to go to Christmas with good mood, and I accomplished my goals. So, but yeah, please, like, if you still have some questions, I believe like we can have a couple of minutes still to answer them. So please don't be shy, and we are happy to get even the most tricky ones.
Yeah. But otherwise, if we are all ready, then thank you, and I really hope that we will see you online in some day later also. Thank you.
Thank you.